Today I bring to your attention this lovely licensed title based on Tiny Toon Adventures. Let's do this! Remember when we loved baby-like versions of their original concepts, like Muppet Babies, A Pup Named Scooby-Doo, Tom and Jerry Kids? Man, we love babyfying things, and why not? Babies are cute, I guess. Even though Tiny Toon Adventures had original characters, I still consider it a variant of babyfication, since they're essentially based off the Looney Tunes characters. Babyfication is my official word for this trope. I made it up just now. Usually on this channel, I talk about licensed games that have gone bad, like The Dark Half or Miami Vice or, Darius Inferno.
Damn it! Damn it, damn it, damn it!
But this game is actually decent. In fact, a lot of licensed games developed for consoles were really good. PC games, however, I don't know, we got a load of junk. Step it up, computers. Step it up. This game was released for the Sega Genesis in 1993 and developed by Konami, the company responsible for some of the most popular video game series, such as Castlevania, Contra, and of course, Silent Hill. I was surprised Konami had their hands in something so bubbly, but having a reputable company work on this game was a plus because it's actually very good, and in true Konami fashion, it's also hard as balls. You play as Buster Bunny in this 2D side-scroller. Montana Max has stolen some hidden treasure map and also Babs Bunny somehow, which I don't buy at all, by the way. As an avid watcher of Tiny Toons, I feel that Babs could outwit Montana Max any day, but whatever. The objective is to go through the levels on the map in order to beat Montana Max to the treasure. On top of those things, all the Tiny Toon characters have been brainwashed by Dr. Gene Splicer and try to defeat you during boss levels. I can't see Buster wanting to actually hurt his friends, so in order to beat the boss levels, you just bop Splicer on the head. And I must say, that sound effect that plays when you bop him tickles me way too much. When you complete a boss level, the mind control devices being used on your friends poof into thin air, and in some cases, they die. Good God. I used to play this game all the time as a kid, and I remember it being really fun and addictive. It's really charming visually, and the mechanics are, well, they're okay. I think jumping is a little awkward, which is weird because I'm playing a bunny. I figure a bunny would know a thing or two about jumping. It has this slippery quality to it, like I'm going to skid off of the platform, and it's also very fast-paced, so it gets a little frantic. I noticed the game is very reminiscent of Sonic the Hedgehog, or maybe even Jazz Jackrabbit, as Buster can ramp up his speed and move rapidly across the levels. There's also some hints of early Mario games with this top-down world map, which you hop around from level to level as they are unlocked. I found the amount of enemies per level a little overwhelming, but if you start to feel that way, you can summon a character to help clear the screen. That's what all these carrots are for. For every 50 carrots collected, you get the option to summon other Tiny Toon characters to help you. The characters change depending on what level you're on, but I prefer Concord Condor. He's just so dopey and cute and stuff. You can also call in Lil Sneezer and Little Beeper. Though I gotta say, I wish these carrots gave you more than just character assistance. I didn't even use it all that often, so I wish it would have given me extra lives or extra hearts, because with the way I was dying, I really could have used them. You start out with 3 hearts of health, and you can collect up to 5 by finding these bells scattered around the levels. But I am telling you, 3 hearts, even 5 hearts, was not enough for me. Maybe my motor skills are just deteriorating these days, but I had to seriously chip away at this game in order to beat it. Thank God for the passwords, because there is no way I would want to keep starting over every time I died, especially since there are a lot of levels, an impressive amount actually. And just like the Mario games I mentioned earlier, there are different ways to unlock the next level. To complete a level, you must find Go-Go Dodo, who leads you through a magical portal to the next one, and sometimes there are several Go-Go Dodos per level, but no matter which one you go to, you will always be taking the same path towards the end goal. Honestly, I don't really see a point to the multiple paths, but it does add to the replayability and time spent on the game, so that's cool, I guess. You can also find these little rainbow-colored circles that resemble the Tiny Toons logo, and if you find those, you're teleported to the magical world of Wacky Land. It's a bonus level in which you can collect more carrots. That is a lot of carrots. I'm surprised Buster isn't suffering from carrotonemia. You know what really grinds my gears though? I hate it when games have a mechanic that allows the character to look up, but quite literally does nothing. Now very frequently, ducking and looking up allows the player to see what's above or below them. It's extremely helpful in side-scroller and platformer style games, but nope, not here. When you look up, you just look up. Gazing at the sky like it's nothing you have ever seen before. Wow, look at that sky. It's beautiful. Okay, you deserved that, Buster. Pay attention, jeez. The level designs are simply gorgeous. You have lovely sunsets, creepy caves, slippery snow levels, and oh no. The most annoying level design in any game ever. Water levels. Oh my god! You know what? I don't even want to talk about it. I really don't. I've been traumatized by water levels in the past and this just isn't cool. I can't even look at it. Take it away. I'm so frustrated by these water levels that I could just do this. Some of the final levels are really relentless. In fact, the part where you're running away from Elmira is actually a video game challenge at MagFest. A challenge I won, by the way. I got a sticker for it and everything to prove how cool I am. Well, you know, actually it's not too hard, just take some trial and error. It's more frustrating than anything, but once you memorize where and when you need to jump, it's all good. The hit detection in the final boss level with Montana Max, however, makes me want to scream. Why are the hit detection boxes so tiny? I feel like I'm hitting Montana Max square on the noggin and I'm still getting hurt. Ridiculous! But not ridiculous enough for me to hate the game by a long shot. It's still really fun and quite endearing. And of course, if you really can't stand going through each and every level, you can always cheat. But you wouldn't do that, now would you? So, like most games published by Konami, I like this one despite the difficulty level, and I think it's one of the better licensed games out there. It's rare to find a cash-in style game with some quality, but they do exist. I even consider this a classic Genesis game, though that might be my nostalgia talking for me. It tends to have a mind of its own sometimes. That being said, I am going to go back to torturing Buster Bunny now. See you later.
I talk about a fair number of NES games that could be considered hidden gems, and I try to shed some light on them. But today, I'm talking about a game that I think should stay hidden and never put into a console. It's Adventures of Dino Riki. Adventures of Dino Riki was developed by Hudson Soft and released on NES in North America in 1989, 2.5 years after it was originally released in Japan. It's a vertically scrolling shooter, except you're walking instead of flying. It's kind of like Pocky and Rocky, except shitty. In this world, humans and dinosaurs exist at the same time, and as Riki, you need to shoot the ones you see, along with bats, skulls, and other monsters, while avoiding their attacks. You have a small arsenal of weapons to help you. You start by throwing stones, which is very inefficient. By picking up power fists, you can upgrade to throwing axes, boomerangs, and finally, the power of fire. Of course, if you ever get hit by an enemy projectile, you lose some of your power and drop down a weapon level, making everything much more challenging. You have 3 health to start, but can refill it with meat, or can increase your total health by picking up hearts. You can also get speed boost. The game starts out alright. The controls aren't the best and Riki feels a little sluggish, but it's playable. But then the game asks you to start jumping. I have no idea why overhead auto-scrolling platforming was added to this game, because it is terrible. Halfway through the first stage, the game changes from a mediocre shooter to some hellish version of Frogger. The jungle you've been traveling through turns into a lake, where you need to hop between lily pads, some of which disappear and reappear or move around. The problems with the platforming in this game are plentiful. How the platforms look on screen doesn't really correspond to where the safe zones are when you land on them. So many times, I very much look to be on solid ground only to find myself falling to my death. The jump itself is also not reliable. Sometimes pressing jump and forward would launch me much further than I expected, while at other times Riki would just do a little hop and fall into the water right in front of him. The speed boost can also really mess you up, changing the jumping physics at each different speed. But the worst part is that while the screen is auto-scrolling, Riki is automatically inching forward all the time. In later levels, some of the platforms you need to jump between are tiny. Even if you land where you need to, you then often need to tap backwards to keep yourself from walking right off the edge while you line yourself up for the next jump. But when you jump on a moving platform, you don't automatically move with it. I know some of these games are Nintendo hard, but this is bullshit. The second level, which takes place in a desert, thankfully ditches the platforming. However, it is full of disappearing and reappearing quicksand traps. Level 3 is in a swamp, and it's where the teeny tiny platforms make an appearance, along with fissures appearing in the ground as you approach. As the game goes on, there are more and more enemies coming at you, shooting projectiles, moving erratically, while your sluggish avatar tries to avoid them. Each level ends in a boss fight, and comparatively, they are much less challenging than the rest of the game. They just move back and forth shooting at you and are pretty easy, though I did find a couple of them, like the giant cobra, took a very long time to kill. The final level takes the 3 environments you've already seen and places many, very challenging versions of them back to back. That means there's really only 3 environments in the entire game, plus the boss fight arena. I feel like Hudson Soft wasn't really putting in their best effort here. These last stages are a nightmare and ramp up the challenge to a ridiculous level. Any platforming segments go on for an unbearable amount of time. Even the sections where you're on solid ground complicate things by putting you on narrow paths between obstacles, so you have almost no room to dodge enemies. One particular enemy type did its best to ruin my day. Tiny skeletons which shot single projectiles. You could shoot them, making them collapse into a heap of bones, but the little bastards would just keep shooting at you, and if you came into contact with their apparently lifeless bodies, they'd still hurt you. With no way to shoot behind you, any enemy you fail to kill will just keep shooting at you from behind for a time. What fun. Also, these final stages have no checkpoint, so if you die, you go back to the start. Again, each of these shorter stages ends in a boss fight, which repeat the ones you've seen before. There's one last awful desert stage, which is full of timed spouting fire, quicksand, and more enemies than I knew what to do with. There's practically nowhere to maneuver at this point, and unless you somehow manage to not take any hits and keep your most powerful weapon, it's next to impossible to clear a safe path through. And then you reach the final boss. After fighting a giant cobra, a tyrannosaurus, the final boss is a big fly. Sure, why not? On all the previous bosses, there was a little calm before the storm when you reached the entrance to the boss room. A second where there were no enemies and usually a power-up or two to grab before going in. For this final one, there's just a big "fuck you, try to make it to the door in one piece." So I ended up going at the final boss with just my rocks. After all this nonsense, can you guess what you're rewarded with? The worst kind of NES ending. It just loops back to stage 1. Congratulations, you just made it through this piece of shit game. Now do it again. There are a few more power-ups I haven't mentioned, which are ostensibly supposed to help make things easier. A star will clear any enemies around you. Helpful, sure, but they often spawn in bad places. There's also a bird which will let Riki fly. If you hold down the jump button, he hovers over the ground, still able to shoot, but not able to pick up items. This could make the platforming sections much easier, but if you get hit at all or stop holding the jump button, you lose the wings. Also, they're a hidden power-up. You need to shoot the right place on screen to make them appear. There's nothing to indicate where they are, and I think I saw maybe 2 of these while I played. The last upgrade that apparently exists is Macho Riki. This makes you bigger and lets you throw copies of yourself. I say it apparently exists because I never saw this power-up in my entire playthrough. Alright, what else is there aside from the awful gameplay? The soundtrack is fine. It's very Hudson Soft. As I said, there's really only 3 environments, none of them are that great looking. Some of the bosses look alright, I do love me some dinosaurs, but I honestly got really tired of watching Riki die. Look at this googly-eyed asshole. Playing through Adventures of Dino Riki kind of ruined my day. I was angrily messaging friends, threatening to take a hammer to this cartridge, and I might have done it if this label wasn't so nice and clean. But this is one of the most frustrating, least fun NES games I've ever played. Do yourself a favor, don't play this.